Hey everyone, I am the Chosen One Legend here, as always joined by my co-host,
Hi, I'm Kai, also known as Fascurreyn.
and welcome back to the BunchaJokahs podcast, where we go over some of the gaming highlights of the past month. And don't worry guys, Sam is gone now, I'm back. It's all safe.
Ooh,
I know
thank
it was a
God.
terrifying one last month, but it's all back to normal now.
Yeah, he just kept talking about Katy Perry like non-stop. It was a nightmare to get through. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and I edited out an hour of that as well, the one
Mm,
you got is lessened, but
yeah, that was
But
crazy.
we are back, and there's been some stuff happening this month. Actually, there's quite a bit to talk about. We've got Game Awards coming up. We've got some big announcements over for some future games coming over the next few months, and generally a lot to talk about. As always, there will be timestamps in the description below, so if you want to check out the different sections, you can do so that way. But I think we'll just get started on our first segment of the podcast. Can't have a podcast without news, baby, where we go over those news highlights of the month. And it's finally time. Game Awards nominees have been announced and the voting's commenced. Particularly, I want to focus on here Game of the Year. Our nominees, I brought them up here. I've got a Google document open. Here
Oh,
we go.
nice.
I probably could have memorised them, there's only 6, but we have Elden Ring, of course,
Mhm.
Horizon Forbidden West, makes sense, God of War Ragnarok, inevitable, Stray, which is an interesting one, A Plague Tale Requiem, and of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It actually made it
Woo!
for a nominee, which, Jesus, I was not expecting that, considering how snubbed Xenoblade 2 was. It didn't feature at all,
Hmm.
so the fact that
Question.
Xenoblade 3... Oh, it's gone.
Are there normally 5 nominees for Game of the Year, or has there always been 6?
I think it's always been 6, at least the most recent
Okay.
years.
Because I was
Unless it
going to say, I
started as
wouldn't be
5.
surprised if Xenoblade was only there because every Game Award post on Twitter was filled with Xenoblade fans in the comments, and I'm here for it, to be honest. I'm
Yeah,
so here for it.
absolutely, yeah. It got nominated for 3 categories, I believe. It's also in Best
Mm,
Soundtrack and I think Best RPG,
sounds about right.
or something like that. So it's, I guess it helps. Xenoblade 2 had the unfortunate timing of releasing in December, which
Hmm.
means by the time the next Game Awards came, it was irrelevant.
Yeah.
Which, for a big game like Smash or something, it can get away with that. But Xenoblade 2 was always going to be snubbed. But
Hmm.
yeah, to see it getting this sort of recognition, it's never going to win. Let's be real. It's
Yeah.
just not. It's going to be Ragnarok or something. But why don't you say, what's your prediction? What do you think will win of those options, Guy?
If you asked me a month ago, I would have said 100% Elden Ring. But
Hmm.
God of War's been quite popular lately. I know very little about either of them, so I'm going purely on public opinion. But
Yeah.
it does look like Elden Ring is shaping up to win, with possibly God of War beating it. Because those have been
Yeah.
kind of the 2 big games. And I don't think Xenoblade has a chance. I think all the others like Stray, Plague Tale, I don't think they've got a chance. It's just like they are well respected. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're just happy that Xenoblade got nominated, so it's all good.
Exactly. I mean, I'm with you. I think it will be probably Elden Ring or God of War. I think the first God of War might have won the 2018 awards or whenever it came out. So it wouldn't.
Maybe.
The
Mm.
precedent's there for that. Xenoblade, yes, it's not going to happen. But the
Mm.
fact that it gets the recognition it deserves because it's a fantastic game. I mean, we haven't been doing several hour-long videos talking about it for no reason. But also, just we're gonna hear the melody, the Game of the Year melody,
Oh,
and whether they
yes.
choose Weight of Life or the battle theme or whatever they put in there, it's gonna be a banger. So
I think it's gotta be Weight of Life, right?
I think
Has
so.
to
That
be.
would be my
Either
go-to.
that or maybe You Will Know Our Names finale is
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
my other guess, but we'll see. I will say on that note though is Yasunori Mitsuda did get nominated for I think Best Composer this year, and like I'm really hoping that one is a success for us because I've got a lot of respect for Yasunori Mitsuda.
Oh
So
yeah,
we'll see.
years of bangers. So
Yeah, in all of my favorite series, it's like, oh, who's the composer? Let me Google it. Oh, it's him again.
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Um,
it's a trip.
but it's good to see. I mean, is there anything you think should have been nominated or missed out. I can't really think of much, to be honest. I guess that did help Xenoblade 3's case a bit. It wasn't like, 2017 where we had Breath of the Wild and Odyssey and Persona 5 and all that. It's a bit of a... There were less mega hits this year, I suppose. But
yeah,
I can't think of anything.
From a pure personal perspective, Triangle Strategy, because I've just got such unlimited respect for that game. But yeah, I still don't think it should have gotten Game of the Year or anything. But hey, if that got nominated, I'd be losing my mind. I think it did get nominated in like Best RPG or something. Outside of that, that's really it. But I would like to say like Horizon Forbidden West does look really good. That's the the other game in that sort of nominated group that I have seen, and it looks really good, but it just has a poor history of getting overshadowed by other games that are like released at the same time as that series. So at least it did also still get nominated and get that recognition, though. I'd be incredibly surprised if it didn't get nominated. So yeah, that's about it from me, really.
Yeah, I need to check out that. I own the first Horizon game, but the ever-growing backlog continues. So
Exactly.
I guess the last thing to talk about here is, the Game Awards isn't just awards. Do you think there's going to be any big Nintendo announcements? Are you expecting like a Breath of the Wild trailer, like we got at the Game Awards before the first one? Tears of the Kingdom, I suppose, is what it's called now. Do you think we'll get one?
I think it's possible. I don't know if it's likely, because that kind of thing's already happened, but I guess we'll see. Again, like I say, I think it's not impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, if there were to be any big announcements from Nintendo there, what would it even be apart from that? Thinking about it, I don't.
I can hear in the distance the chants of Prime 4, but no.
Again, possible. Less likely, but...
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, we will cover anything that gets announced in our next month's podcast. Hopefully we get some sort of, at least something from Nintendo. I don't know what it will be, but I expect something, even if it's just, a tease of the next Mario Kart DLC or something like that, on that level. Yeah. But moving on to our next story, actually, Kai, I'm going to hand this one over to you, because we've been getting some sort of updates on Splatoon 3's big December update, which I think is already out now?
Yes.
Yeah, and what are the highlights of that, Kai?
So Splatoon 3 has kind of got like seasons this time around. Maybe it did before, I never really paid attention. But they've got pretty well-defined seasons at this point, where that's when they make major sort of patch changes and major additions to the game, because it's one of those games that updates a lot as it goes on. So we are entering Season 2 at the beginning of December, which is Chill Season. So what they've done is they've got a bunch of new updates. The main things I've got noted here are they brought in 2 stages. One of them's Flounder Heights from Splatoon 1, which I've given a try. I never played it in Splatoon 1, so it's really cool to see here. It's a really interesting map, I think, because it's one of the most like vertical. You've also got a new stage, Brine Water Springs, which looks pretty cool. There's 3 new weapon types. You've got the Sniper, which is like a sniper that has 5 charges on it at a time.
I just love the design of that one. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool name as well. I love Sniper.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. You've got the Splattershot Nova, which is just like a different Splattershot type again. For those who have played the game, it's kind of a mix between a Splattershot and a Jet Squelcher. And then you've got the Big Swig, which is a new roller, where its main gimmick is when you're physically rolling it, it's got like really wide paint spread and it's quite fast. And I kind of like the idea, because in Splatoon nowadays, like using a roller to just roll on the ground is like basically useless. Like you only ever see that in like the worst level of play, is people only using it to roll on the ground.
This is me. That's me. I'm in this picture and I want myself out of it.
Well, I mean, like most people like flick it. They do the jump flicks and stuff like that, because there's very little situation where just rolling is important. But Big Swig seems to be like the dream for new players, because it's like really good in Turf War.
Right.
I haven't been able to try it yet, but we'll see. On top of that, for gameplay, there's 10 other new kits where it's like previous weapons that have gotten a new sub-weapon and a new special. which is always really interesting because I've really gotten into Splatoon 3 recently, and I say recently since the game came out really. I've got like 120 something hours clocked, and the kits actually matter a lot with a weapon on whether they're good or not. For example, they gave the Carbon Roller, which used to be my favourite weapon, a new kit which has a burst bomb on it, which is really, really good. And I'm glad that it got it. So there's a ton new gameplay options. That's really cool to see, and like how useful they'll be. I haven't really got much else noted. It's just that like there's a ton of new things like clothing and a new catalog in the game. For the really good players, X mode is now out, which is like the real sort of try hard stuff. I'm never reaching that.
I haven't even unlocked ranked yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still on Turf Wars only.
Yeah, I was until like 2 weeks ago. And then there's finally Big Run will be coming. We'll probably end up covering that next month in the monthly podcasts. Because it's not actually happening yet. It's happening like a week from now when we're recording this. But hey, it should be fun. I guess there's not really much else aside from that. Those are the main changes. The only other thing I really want to note is that, of course, like I said, there were the patch notes for this. And surprisingly for weapon balance, there were only like 2 incredibly minor weapon balance changes. To the Tri-Stringer and Splatana to do with like painting. But like outside of that, there were no changes made to the balance of any weapon.
Interesting.
And it's like...
Do you think that's because it's well balanced, or are you saying that's bad and that there's things they could have changed?
No, it's well balanced. It's a really good thing. It's like people have generally agreed that the game is overall really balanced. There's a couple weapons that I feel like maybe could do with some slight nerfs or buffs. There's like minor things. But overall, this is by far the most balanced a Splatoon game has been on launch. And there's been no weapons that have been overly prevailing in the meta of like, this weapon's always really good or this one's always really bad. So, overall it's nothing to complain about for sure.
Yeah, it's good to see. I mean, they're on the 3rd one now, so I guess they've sort of getting the hang of it now, mastering the balancing act. But yeah, it's good to see that the game's getting more updates to bring more people into it. Definitely get me back into it because I'm always bad at multiplayer games. Like I always end up going back to single player stuff. I've only got like 20 hours in Splatoon, but anytime they add something new, like Big Run or whatever it is, that's my chance to get back into it. It's whenever there's a Splatfest, and I will get to ranked modes. I'm like one level off. I'm on level 9 or something.
Yeah, they're good. I will say I had a really weird system in the game where I was like, I'm only going to play Turf War until I've gotten every single weapon in the game to 1-star freshness, which is about 11 games. So I played 11 games with like the 55 different weapons in the game, or however many there were. Yeah. And it's like, that was a lot. And then I was like, well, finally I can play ranked. And then as soon as I stop playing ranked, new update comes out, 13 new weapons. It's like, okay, never mind, I'll go back to Turf War. It's fine.
Yeah. I definitely need to. I think what will get me more into it, I need to play with you guys more often. So anytime you want to play, Guy, hit me up.
We'll get some more
when you
stuff
feel like
going
being dragged down and you want to carry.
Honestly, for Turf War, I do not mind that in the slightest. So.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's always going to happen in Turf Wars no matter what. So
sounds good to me.
Let's make it happen. But I guess we'll move on to another game that we've been getting some news updates on. One that's not out yet, though. Fire Emblem Engage. We've had 2 big new trailers on it. The first of which was more of a story trailer, which, I mean, we could delve into it deep, but it shows a bit more of the character dynamics. We see the possibility of, like, other characters using the rings for, like, an evil version of Marth or something in there, which is interesting. And then the second trailer, which is a bit more gameplay focused, and it goes on to the different units and how, when you equip an emblem of a previous character, it showed off ones like Corrin and Byleth are in this game, Lyn as well. You unlock certain abilities, like, for example, one I really liked with Byleth, so I thought was quite clever, was when you engage with them, which is your full-on Ouroboros form where you interlink. It's you get the ability to use Byleth's teaching skill to upgrade the stats of nearby allies, for example. And it seems like a really interesting mechanic. Like I haven't played enough Fire Emblem to know if there's anything to compare it to, but I like what it's doing differently to Three Houses, and I'm definitely on board to picking this up in January. What did you find about it, Kai?
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing, those trailers, where if we were like really, really into Fire Emblem, like if our channel name was like, I don't know, bunch of Roys or something, I don't know, like we could have done a full analysis on this trailer or these
Oh yeah,
trailers. Um, yeah, like you said, the gameplay looks interesting. They've always kind of done things similar to that for gameplay, but you know they always mix it up slightly. So bringing back all the old, heroes and stuff is quite cool. It's kind of weird. Overall, it's still not fully grabbed me. But regardless of my personal thoughts, I do think it looks good. I'm interested, particularly to see where it goes, because a
yeah.
lot of the game, especially in the gameplay, does look really good. The UI is pretty cool. So I guess we'll see how the story develops. I hope it's a good one that I will end up picking up. We'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see on a lot of it. But yeah, the rings concept, pretty cool. I like it.
The visual style of it all and the presentation really does look very slick. Not that Three Houses was a bad game, but it definitely looks a bit muddier. This is very bright and colourful and definitely feels like it's showing off more of what the Switch can do. And
Well,
also, oh, what's that?
funnily enough, it actually the animation style reminded me a lot of Fire Emblem Heroes, the mobile game.
Yeah,
Where the concept is also quite similar, where the whole thing in that game is you're summoning Fire Emblem characters to this world to fight for you. It's not
that's
exactly
true.
the same, of course, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's very similar animation style.
It does seem like it is focusing on one story. We're not getting the three roots thing, which I did like that about Three Houses, but also it's kind of nice to have a more something focused, I suppose, because I still haven't done the other routes in Three Houses or Three Hopes. So that's like four other playthroughs I have left to do. Five, I think, because there's Church Route, and I'm like, dear God, there's so much I haven't done in those games. So it'll be nice to have it a bit more contained.
Well,
In
I
that
mean,
sense.
for all we know, the post from the other day that Oliver made of the Shadow
Oh,
the
yes.
Hedgehog routes. I
Yes.
mean, who knows? Maybe it
It
will be a
could.
Shadow the Hedgehog type game where the hair color changes. I'm gonna be honest. I think it would be pretty cool because Shadow the Hedgehog's story system is like really interesting. But yeah, no, the
As
single
long as
route's
it's
fine
as
though.
edgy. If it keeps it as edgy, I'm down.
Yeah,
The moment that the
but
main character goes, "Damn," I'm all in.
oh god, yeah. No, I think it'll be good though. I think having a single route will allow it to be more focused. So I'm hoping they do make a good story from that, and it's not just like, yeah, you could have done three routes with this anyway. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll definitely be trying to hopefully pick it up at launch. So I'll give my thoughts on it when the time comes. But until then, we've got something else to keep us occupied because Mario Kart 8 is getting the next wave coming out
Mm.
December 7th, so just a few days from when this releases. And we already saw two of the tracks previously, the Peach Gardens and the Christmas track returning. But we've also got Berlin and London coming from tour. We've got Maple Treeway, uh, Rainbow Road 3DS version, as well as two others. I think uh, one of the Boo courses from like the SNES and or GBA, and Rocky Mountain or Rock Mountain from Mario Kart 3DS. Generally a good selection there, but Maple Treeway and Rainbow Road in particular, goddamn.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really like I found the instrumental for Maple Tree Way in the trailer really interesting. I'd love to hear like a full version of that when it releases. Um,
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm a big fan of Peach's Garden from the DS, so I'm excited to see that return and see how that develops.
absolutely. I mean, there's not too
Good
much to say
selection.
about them now. It's more Mario Kart. It's gonna be fun, but yeah, these are really great picks. Are there any you're still holding out for? Any particular ones you think are missing? Because we're getting near the end of these waves. Only
Mm,
two more, three more.
uh, oh, I don't even know actually. Isn't there 8 waves?
Let me bring that up. I actually have the video right
Or
here.
is it? I don't remember.
There's 6 waves, so we're halfway through.
Oh, okay. I guess two that come to mind are both from the DS, just because we're on that idea. One is Airship Fortress from that game.
Yeah.
The opening has all the bullet bills shooting out at you. I really like that. It's a really cool course. And then also from the DS, the Bowser's Castle from that game I thought was always really cool.
Right.
So, either of those returning would be really good. There's probably like a ton of Wii courses I would like to return, but I can't think of them off the top of my head, so yeah.
Donut Plains 1, Donut Plains 2, Mario Circuit 1, Mario Circuit 2.
Here we go.
The one pack's just going to be all of those.
Just, yeah.
The slog pack, make it happen. But yeah, there's a lot to pick from. And I still love the fact that it's not just returning ones, but because I haven't played Tour, those are always like new tracks to me. And apparently London's, as well as of course, England represent, it's also apparently one of the better tracks. So I'm looking forward to trying those out for the first time. And Kai, I will destroy you. It's going to happen.
We will all get together and play them again, of course, so...
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be fun. A lot of fun.
And I'll only cry in the first 5 minutes when I'm hit with 4 blue shells. Such be the way of Mario Kart.
Let's go. That is Mario Kart.
It do be Mario Kart. But we have one last bit of Mario news, and it's kind of fitting to Mario Kart actually, because we got a new trailer for the Mario Bros. Movie coming out in April next year, showing off a first look at Peach, Donkey Kong, a better look at Luigi. Mario Kart's in there. Damn, this trailer's looking solid. This movie just keeps looking better and better, and I'm genuinely hyped.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. Overall, we kind of get to see a bit more of how the plot is shaping up here. We get to see a ton of visuals, of course, on different characters and stuff. We got a lot, and it's looking like this is following kind of what Sonic and Detective Pikachu have done of we can actually make good video game movies now. We've changed since the 80s. It looks brilliant. I really like it.
I think what's good is it's sort of balancing that sort of, you got sort of your childish humour in there, but with really great performances and genuine respect to the series. Things like the Mario Kart section, how when he drifts he gets the little blue sparks like you get in Mario Kart, and all sorts of things like that. You can see characters it's up for debate, but potentially Funky Kong and Kiddy Kong in the background of certain scenes and stuff. They're clearly paying attention to the references and the world of Mario in a way that you it was almost worried that they wouldn't, and they'd just be dumb Mario fun, but they're getting a good balance, it seems like. So credit to Illumination. From what we've seen, it could be a train wreck, you never know. It is a trailer, but I'm optimistic.
So far, the references all look amazing, from Rainbow Road in the Mario Kart bit, because, I called that, I think, last month on the podcast. I was like, there's got to be a Mario Kart section. I was wondering if it would be in the sequel or not, but no, it seems like they're using it here. There was also, when they showed a picture of all the different islands, it was there was a GameCube island, which is pretty fun, and, we can see the Yoshis are going to be coming in and everything like that. The main thing for me is it seems like they're setting up enough of a world that they could easily make a sequel already. There's so much going on where they've made this is the Mario movie world, and I'm really here for it. Particularly, there's a part where Peach is there's a whole load of galaxies out there. It's galaxy, and then it's a shot of Mario going through a pipe, and I legitimately thought that it was World of Light for a second. Because it really looks like World of Light.
Could you the post credit scene comes up and Sakurai, I'm here to talk to you about the Smash Brothers initiative.
Yeah, honestly, if that happened, it would be a dream come true, wouldn't it? To have a subspace movie or something. But
I don't think they'd go all in with that. I could see a post credit scene with something like Kirby or something, someone who could easily appear and fits with the Mario animation style perfectly. That would be really cool if something like that happens.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm really looking forward to a lot of this. I think one interesting thing to note is based on a lot of the ways the trailers have been interpreted, is that it's kind of reversed some roles in that Luigi is going to probably be captured quite early in the movie, and then Mario and Peach work together to go and save him. So Luigi and Peach's roles have kind of swapped a bit. And I think it works. Peach is very much girl boss attitude in this movie, which I think makes a lot of sense from how her character is portrayed. So I'm here for it. It's good.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But of course, Kai, we can't be hyped because the French dub's better, so remember that.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, sorry, I'm so upset Peach doesn't go, "Hello, Mario," for the whole movie. Yeah, oh, what a nightmare. It's like...
Kai, I'm clipping that one out.
Oh, God, here we go.
Oh, that's becoming my new text alert, yeah.
Oh, no.
But, anyway, that's it for the Mario trailer. Let's move things swiftly on to our final segment of the podcast, Games Time, baby, where we talk about the games that we've been playing over the past month. And you're sticking with Mario, I want to talk a little bit about, to start things off, Paper Mario. Because, inspired by Chugga playing it on his channel recently, I decided to pick up and go through the Nintendo 64 original on NSO. And it's just a really charming, fun game. I mean, I'm not sure what can be said about it that hasn't already at this point. You know, it's Paper Mario, it's fun, the writing's phenomenal, Bowser's just really funny, Peach is great in this. Speaking of Peach actually doing things and being a kind of girl boss, she absolutely is in 64 original. You actually get to play as her in some segments. The combat is really well balanced, and how you can choose to what extent you want to create Mario. You can sort of create your own Mario build with your badges, which is really interesting. Getting the timing on the commands is very satisfying. And there's nothing like crazy, there's nothing ridiculous. It doesn't get to like, I've played some of the Mario RPGs, like, you know, Mario and Luigi, and there's nothing as crazy as any of that, but all in all, it's just really charming. And it holds up incredibly well compared to a lot of Nintendo 64 games. Even the best of them, you know, if you look at something like Ocarina of Time, which I still love, it's very muddy in that by that point. Mario 64 has a heck of a lot of jank in it, despite how fun it is. But Paper Mario, due to the paper aesthetic, it looks great still, and the gameplay doesn't really have any old school bullshit in there. I mean, there's the odd moment, but it's generally well balanced and never feels unfair. So, all in all, I mean, if you have if you have NSO Online, you can play this game, and I would recommend it because it's just fun, it's not too long, and maybe one day they'll release Thousand Year Door so I can try that out next. But
that would be the dream, wouldn't it? 'Cause
that would
very
be,
well. Yeah. I think that Super Paper Mario is just one of those ones where like it's just overall like a really sort of solid game. There's no huge like shortcomings with it. It's just like an all-round very good RPG story, and you know, like you say, the gameplay's balanced, everything feels good. Just like overall, it's like solid, you know.
Exactly. I like having your partner characters, which are great. I mean, some of the later ones feel a bit like rushed in. They're like, here, have someone else. But I like how they all have their own new mechanics, and it allows you to swap them out depending on certain situations. It's a cool system, and I would definitely. Again, I've heard Thousand Year Door is even better, but that's locked to the GameCube. So maybe Super Paper Mario on the Wii. I know you like that one, Kai.
Yeah, it's a very different kind of game.
Yes,
but it's very good still.
I always wanted that as a kid. It was one of those I was going to buy at like Game, but then it just wasn't in stock, and then I never got around to it.
If it makes you feel better, I never beat Chapter 2 as a kid because I was scared of one of the bosses. So yeah, those who have played the game know exactly what I'm talking about. That's.
Well, yeah, you're able to beat it now, weren't you, Kai?
I don't know if I ever did. I definitely got further. Like, I definitely finished that chapter. I don't know if I ever actually beat the game. Maybe I need to go do that at some point.
Stream it.
Honestly, not impossible. I've been thinking about it.
But we'll do Astral Chain first.
Nah, we could push that back. It's fine.
But what have you been playing, Kai? Anything you want to shout out here? Other than Super Paper Mario.
It's actually what I'm playing at the moment as we're doing this. I mean, I've not really played much in the last month because, again, it's just been Splatoon 3 all the time now. I'm super into it. I also played Slice and Dice, but I feel like I gave a lot of my thoughts last month anyway, so I won't really touch on that. But I am currently replaying through Tomadachi Life. Remember that one on the DS with the funny Miis?
All I remember is like the trailer where they're all worshipping the Virtual Boy, and the different music videos people would make, and it's some crazy shit, and I wish I got to play it.
Yeah, it's a great like Sims style game. It's not
Mm,
one you play as everyone says. You just kind of make your Miis. They live on this island. They have like random things that they get up to. You complete tasks for them, give them clothes, rooms, things like that. Make friends with each
yeah.
other. And it's really charming. Really, really charming game. Um, so, I feel like it was a great foundation for Miitopia to be made because I think Miitopia is an amazing game. It's really good.
Mm,
But this is like a nice sort of starting point for this kind of mini series. Um, I've just been making a bunch of people and I'm just fixing their problems at the moment. Uh, I feel like one of the main spectacles of the game is the music section of it, because every character in the game has voice acting. You can like change their voices and stuff, and
mm,
you can. There's like I don't remember how many song types. I think 8 off the top of my head, and you can have them sing like solos and group songs together, and you choose the lyrics. Is the main thing.
yes. I've seen the
So
results of that.
yes, there's unlimited possibilities. The only limitation being that Nintendo doesn't allow certain words to be said,
Makes
which
sense.
have
People find ways
workarounds.
around it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's workarounds. Um, but overall, it's just like a really charming little game. It's one of those ones you can just sort of, I don't know, maybe play like for 10, 15 minutes every couple days, and you can keep up with it
Mm,
quite well that way. Um, just there's not really much else to it, to be honest. It's a pretty minuscule game in the grand scheme of things, but it's just like very charming. There's the humor's quite nice. I've kind of said my praises about how Miitopia does it, and it's
yeah.
kind of the same here, where the humor's quite universally charming. So yeah, just it's fun. Simple as that.
Yeah. I wish they would have brought it to the Switch or something, because I definitely would have
Mm.
probably been more likely to check it out. Maybe one day, but I feel like with Miitopia that's less likely now that's on there. But
Yeah, I think as a collection it would have been really fun. I've
yeah.
seen a lot of people saying that, and yeah, honestly, it would have been nice if you could like have both the games sort of in tandem, where maybe you can import Mii's from Tomadachi Life to Miitopia and vice versa, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, maybe there's like certain ways that the gameplay in the games link up. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like they could have done something there, and that would have been even better. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, Kai, be careful what you do with people in this game, because we know what happened when you launched Sophie from a cannon in Miitopia, and she's never forgiven you.
I
So
can't
you're
do
on
that
thin
in
ice
this
already.
game. However, I can give her like a really weird-looking room and weird-looking clothes and weird-looking food and everything like that. So hey, I'm still on the hit list.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just have to stick with the Smash stage. That'll be my that'll be my Tomadachi life.
Fair play.
But I guess I'll talk about now my final game I've got to mention here, which it's finally time, Kai, for me to once again talk about the Kingdom Hearts series, because I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and now you may recall, around this time last year actually, I played Kingdom Hearts 1, and I had thoughts. I had thoughts. It was messy. It made me want to destroy my controller a few times. And I enjoyed parts of it, but I didn't love it. And then Rechain of Memories I played earlier this year, and I liked it a lot more than I expected, but still had a lot of problems. It got kind of grindy and repetitive towards the end. But I'd heard, I was cautiously optimistic, because I'd heard that a lot of people, even who didn't like Kingdom Hearts 1, like Kingdom Hearts 2. It's meant to be a big improvement. And sure enough, I liked it. It was better. It was a step up in
Yay.
pretty much every department. So, Gabe, you can rest easy. I enjoyed my time with Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, not to say I didn't have problems. I'll get into those. But generally, in most departments, it was enjoyable. To go over gameplay a bit, I think what I found with 1 was it was very unintuitive and clunky.
Mhm.
And parts of that carry over to here. There's still lots of things I don't understand about the gameplay. Things like blocking feels really slow, and you can't do it like when you're in the middle of an animation, which means you can often not do it. So it feels like impossible to dodge certain moves. I just straight up didn't unlock the dodge roll and glide from Kingdom Hearts 1. I don't know if you're meant to unlock them in this game, but I didn't have them, which felt odd. Until the final boss, where randomly it gave me them just for that moment, and it was weird. You know, there's oddities, but generally, things felt a lot more fluid in this game. I was able to build up combos using my certain abilities I'd picked out. I was able to string together attacks in a satisfying way. I was able to use magic more often. My allies, in Kingdom Hearts 1, Donald and Goofy were always dead. They were just constantly knocked out. But this time around, they were competent, and they very rarely died, and healing felt a lot smoother, and the way that your MP restored by itself after a certain time, so you didn't have to rely on potions. I like that. There's the new drive forms, which allow you to do things like dual-wield keyblades, which is badass. And I loved how reaction commands were used in this game, where certain enemies, if you block them or take the opportunity to pick up their weapon, you can do a counter-attack with the triangle button, where sometimes you even like use the enemy as a weapon against other enemies and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And in boss fights in particular, they became like Bayonetta QuickTime events, where you're doing all sorts of crazy shit like slicing buildings by the end of it. And it, you know, it's very anime, but it was great, and I love that part of it. And by the end of it, by the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, it was a grind, and it felt repetitive and button mashy. It did not feel that way at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. And whilst I still think there's things that could be explained better, and ways that the combat system could be greatly improved compared to modern stuff, this is still an old game. It's still like, I don't know, 15 years old or something.
Yeah.
And it holds up, that considered, it holds up quite well, and I was able to enjoy myself pretty much the entire way through, with only a few moments of rage. There were some, but they were minimal compared to Kingdom Hearts 1. You know, some things were like the boss fight randomly needed you to attack at a certain point to go to the next phase, otherwise they would destroy you, and the game doesn't explain it or tell you that. And I was just like, okay, I guess this is how we do it, but it was generally better. And I enjoyed it. And in the story, to go over to the story, I thought Kingdom Hearts 1 was pretty basic, all things considered. But with Rechain of Memories and now this, we are getting into the chaos the series is known for, with Organisation 13 and the Nobodies and Roxas and all sorts of weird shit. And I loved it. I thought the opening of the game was really strong. The ending was really strong, and some stuff in the middle with King Mickey. I think the big problem it shares with one...
Sorry, King...
Yes, King... You heard me!
That cracks me up, yeah, King Mickey.
It's when he comes out and he's like, huh? Did somebody say the door to darkness?
Yeah, I remember that clip, it's so good.
It's so weird and jarring, but I love it. I love that part of Kingdom Hearts. It's, But the problem is, it's so spread out between visiting all the different Disney worlds, which are each their own contained stories. And... Don't get me wrong, that's still fun, because seeing Sora and Donald and Goofy interacting with all these different Disney classics is great, and it's a large part of the charm of this game, and exploring those other worlds. And things like, you got the world of Pirates of the Caribbean in here, so you've got anime boy Sora with Donald Duck and Goofy chilling with a realistic looking Jack Sparrow fighting zombie pirates, whilst the Pirates of the Caribbean theme blasts. And it's so weird and jarring, but in the best way possible. I love it. So I don't want to take away from the charm of that, but the problem is the stories of each of those worlds are really just shortened versions of their original movies. There's nothing special in the stories.
Right.
And the Kingdom Hearts wider story comes to a halt whilst you explore these. So it's the stuff that you do get is great, but it's so thinly spread across these worlds. Even Kingdom Hearts 1 I think did a better job, because that had the whole thing where the villains from all the worlds were collaborating, so you're sort of taking them down, going through their worlds. But in this one, you just sort of stumble to a world looking for King Mickey, and you're like, is he here? No? Well, I guess I'll help you with your problem whilst I'm here. And that's it, you know, it's, there's no major connection. So I do think that's something that would be nice if they could find a way to do it better. Although, from what I've heard of Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't think they ever fixed that.
Oh, no.
But, I've heard stories of like people not liking like the Frozen world and stuff, but that'll be a story for another day. I've still got like 4 other spin-off games to get to before that. But yeah, although I wish it found a better way to incorporate the wider story throughout, I still enjoyed the individual worlds, and I enjoyed the bigger lore stuff, and it's only going to get more batshit crazy from here. So yeah, generally I have positive things to say. I still have enough problems where I don't quite get how it's such a beloved series, compared to something I love like, Xenoblade, but not even that because that's a high bar. Even if I compare it to other sort of fantasy RPG series, things like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest or Fire Emblem, like, no element of it comes close to any of those to me. It's still not an amazing game, but it's got to the point where I'm like, I'm enjoying myself now. It's still fun, and that's enough. And I'm looking forward to getting through the rest, and I feel like it won't be a dreadful slog now. I'm actually looking forward to it, so positivity!
Yeah, it's such a curious case of a game series, because it's like, it's a Disney game, and it's like, well, okay, there's a lot of really bad spin-off Disney games, but then it's kind of like what you said about the fact that it's simultaneously trying to be its own RPG with its own story, but then it's also like, oh yeah, but we've also got to do all this Disney stuff, so let's just pause the plot for like hours at a time.
Yeah.
And it's like a really weird balance. So that, again, they haven't really been able to master, it seems like. Just overall, like, the concept of the series is so bizarre to me, but
it is.
Hey, I mean,
but that's also what's great about it.
I think like part of the chaotic and almost like scuffed nature of it is kind of what makes it what it is. So there you have it.
Yeah, watching like a scene where, I guess, mild Kingdom Hearts 2 spoilers, so skip to the outro if you don't want to see this. But there's a moment where they think Goofy's died, and Mickey just picks up his keyblade and goes, "Huh, they'll pay for this." And it's it's so weird, but it's great. It's it's ridiculous, but in a good way. So it's far from perfect, but I'll definitely be continuing with the rest of the series. I think Birth by Sleep is next. I also I watched there's one of the games was a movie I had to watch beforehand, the Roxas prequel story, 300 and something over 8 days. The names are weird and stupid, but that was quite fun because it was all the good stuff condensed into a movie with none of the filler. So that was quite enjoyable. When it gets Kingdom Hearts full weirdness, it's great. So maybe that will continue throughout the rest of the games. We'll see. But I'm glad I'm playing them at the very least. Even if I'll never beat Sephiroth, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's Sephiroth being in the series is so crazy.
But that on that note, that does about bring us to the end for this podcast. So thank you so much, all of you guys, for watching and checking it out. And Kai, where else can people check you out?
They can check me out on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Fascurreyn. I'm still doing my normal streams over there. I'm doing a bunch of random games and stuff like that. Saturdays are multiplayer, so anyone's welcome. And yeah, my YouTube uploads are still going. They've all been set to go on 4 PM each day for my Xenoblade playthrough, so that's all there. It is into chapter 4 now, so I suppose that's there too.
Absolutely, go check that out. Link in the description below, as well as to our friend Sam, who we got to thank for creating the logo and thumbnails for the channel. And of course, stay tuned to BunchaJokahs, be it on YouTube or on podcasting sites for audio-only versions like Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. for more regular discussions like these, first Sunday of every month, as well as our onslaught of Xenoblade discussions which are going on. Still continuing those. Things are getting crazy in the story where we're talking, so if you want to check those out, please do. And we'll also have, some point in the new year, we'll have our year in review looking back at 2022. I had to think about that for a second. What year is it? Time's weird. But yeah, absolutely check those out.
When you think
I never
about
know.
It, no.
Time's a human invention, Kai. It's not real.
True.
But for the time you do have, check it out here on BunchaJokahs. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Goodbye.